DSS Meta X over social media censorship seeks protection of free speech. Human rights activist and publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore, has filed two fundamental rights suits at the Federal High Court in Abuja against Nigeria's Department of State Services, DSS, as well as global tech giants Meta and X Corporation. Sowore is challenging what he calls the unconstitutional censorship of his social media accounts, allegedly initiated by the DSS. His lawyer, Tope Temokun, confirmed that the lawsuits aim to protect not only Sowore's personal rights, but also the right of all Nigerians to free speech. This legal action follows fresh criminal charges filed against Sowore by the federal government for allegedly cyberbullying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The 5-count charge accuses him of publishing false and defamatory statements capable of inciting public disorder. Prosecutors say this breaches Section 24(1)(b) of the Cybercrimes Prohibition Prevention (ETC) Amendment Act 2024. Sowore's legal team argues that this case is about more than one individual, warning that state-directed censorship threatens democracy. They insist that Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution guarantees every citizen the right to freedom of expression without interference. The suits also call for Meta and X to be held accountable for complying with alleged unlawful takedown requests, arguing that global platforms must not become tools of repression. Sowore is asking the court to declare that the DSS has no legal power to censor Nigerians online, that Meta and X should not cooperate with unlawful censorship, and that the rights of Nigerians to free speech be fully safeguarded. His lawyer urged citizens, journalists, and civil society groups to resist attempts to curtail free expression, describing the matter as a fight to prevent Nigeria from becoming a digital dictatorship. The case is expected to test the boundaries of state power, free speech, and the responsibility of global tech platforms in Nigeria's democracy. Big one, yeah. I think this is should I say it's a consequential story for Nigeria's democracy, because I mean, I can remember it's not just in Nigeria, India. I remember some months back it was I think it's India that banned people from using, young people most especially, from using Twitter because of insightful posts, and I think yesterday we saw that in Somali, some TikTokers were arrested for alleged mockery of the president, of the country's president, and also posting, I think before it was for immoral, if you post immoral things on the internet, because it's more like an Islamic country. So, but this time around, I think according to them, it's the first time they have seen people being held for such things. And I would say, Sowore in particular is a polarizing figure in Nigeria, but I think this lawsuit, he's only right to state a case here, because this lawsuit, I think, creates a very critical issue here in Nigeria that we have all been battling with. All citizens in Nigeria have been battling with. I remember during the NSAS time, people are fighting physically, people are fighting online. We are trying to, the citizens are in one corner, one side, and government are in one side, and we're battling online, we're battling physically, how we shouldn't post things online and all of those things. So I think it raises so many questions here. How much power should the state have over what their citizens, over what, let's come down to Nigeria, Nigerians say online? I know sometimes I am one to always say people should, try to limit what they do. They should have this digital responsibility. I always talk about digital responsibility. But then at the end of the day, there are some I don't know how to put it. There are some issues regarding it. You start thinking of, okay, there's a limit to this thing. If you tell people to be digitally responsible, that is, know how much they can post, know, things like that, then some people on the other hand feels that, oh, this is going to, restrict them from freedom of expression. And like it is said there in Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, it guarantees every citizen freedom of expression. But when we look at, I mean, like I said before, we have seen this play out globally. We have seen it in also, I was trying to remember the country, in Turkey, where social media platforms have faced heavy censorship as well. So I think, to me, Sowore's case is going to sort of, test that balance between free speech and national security. I think if he wins, he could set that standard to protect freedom of speech in Nigeria. But then at the end of the day, this is not to say that we should go online and just do things as we like, say things as we like, and all of those things. And then if, as it is allegedly claimed here, that some of these social media platforms are, aiding repression, then I think they should try to be transparent. I think this request for being transparent is only necessary at this point in time. But at this time, I do not know what to say. I'm in both sides. I'm saying that there should be freedom of speech, and of course, citizens should have that digital responsibility.
Sure, it's such an interesting thing. Every time I see his agitation, I just know that, okay, we're having another shower again. It's a Sowore moment, and we know that he's very expressive. He's blunt, he doesn't hide it, he speaks. And I think what every government should be interested in is to enforce their systems of accountability. Why people even have to resort, first of all, to social media to speak to the government is because they've realized that there's been no avenue to really hold the government accountable, because you can be writing letter to your local government chairman for the period he'll be in office and you may never get a response. But the moment you go on Twitter and say something very dicey,
down to even our banks,
you'd realize that, exactly, even banks, you realize that, oh, he can respond. So what happened since? What happened since? Why couldn't you respond? Because I know sometimes they're not in charge of their social media. The same way they're not in charge of getting letters in their offices. So whatever systems that we can put in place to hold ourselves responsible, accountable to the people we are leading, we should. We are not saying citizens should go on to spew hateful things, to make allegations that are unfounded. Of course, there's a place for all of those things. People can just get ahead of their emotions, get ahead of tribalism, get ahead of nepotism and all of that sort of thing, and just spew whatever, because they're trying to, some are not even real, they just want to gather traffic, they just want to trend, they want to just really create content. But that is where the line needs to be drawn. How do we know what is fact and what is nonsense? How do we know what is real and not real? So it's good that he's involving Meta in this, because I know that a lot of people have come out to talk about how Meta brings down their posts from time to time. I mean, somebody was even saying, stop linking your Instagram to your Facebook, it could easily be taken down. And you just, you try to wonder, okay, I'm not posting anything that's causing that. But as bad as just posting, oh, there is a fight somewhere. I mean, people now have to literally write fight as F-A-I-T. Sorry, yes, F-A-I-T, because they do not want to. So, well, it's technology. I'm hoping that technology can be advanced. But the case for Sowore here is really about expression. There should be freedom of expression. But we must understand that where your right stops and that person begins. The fact that we say there's freedom of movement does not mean you should move and, leave your hands spread across. Even allow other people to move. So there has to be that line. And I think the government should do more about allowing themselves to be held accountable. Citizens, on the other hand, must ensure that they are not, being poisonous in the things they see, causing unnecessary panic. Because there are some things you read online. I'm saying this now as journalists. You see some news stories that are unverified. Somebody just cooks up. So the other day, somebody brought up an accident story that happened in 2014. 2014. And you see those kind of things, and the person wrote about it like it just happened. There are people who dig out videos of incidents that happened in the past. They just want traction. So how do we draw the lines in all of those things? How do we know this is where the reality is? That's what our fight should be. It's good to have that expression. We should be able to express ourselves because we are humans. But we must be able to also know that too much of expression breeds content,
Exactly.
breeds a lot of things. So
Exactly.
until we're able to find a balance, I'm sure we'll keep suing and counter suing. But let's just quickly, look at the headlines we brought away. We brought you a story that Nigeria has unveiled agricultural reforms to create 21 million jobs.
Also brought to you stories that NATIP rescues 8 stolen children, busts major trafficking ring.
You heard that EFCC now blames internet fraud for stricter visa rules against Nigerians.
And Sowore sues DSS, Meta X over social media censorship, seeks protection of free speech.
All right, those were the recaps that we brought your way over the news segment. Now it'll be time for us to dive into the discussion segment. But before we do that, we'll be going on a short break. See you when we return.